Good morning, everybody. Joe DeMarco here. So, guys, I've been talking a little bit over the last couple of days about that 10-year yield. If you've been following me, and what impact it's having on interest rates. What I want to do here is kind of show you now, with interest rates where they roughly are today and what kind of buying power you can get with the interest rates where they are today, and certainly where you can strategize a little bit with me when making offers on properties. Since properties, certainly here in Central Florida or Southwest Florida, have been sitting on the market for some time, so I feel it's a buyer's market, and you can get some really nice seller concessions to do some really good things with that money. And what I'm going to show you here is some of the strategies that I'm encouraging my buyers and my buyers agents to look at when they're going out putting in offers. So, with that being said, I want to show you a couple of different scenarios. So in this first scenario here, I am basically just showing you, you're going out looking at a house today. The house has maybe just been on the market a couple of days, couple of weeks. Seller's been entertaining offers. It's listed for $600,000. You fell in love with the property. Seller's not willing to take anything less than $600,000 for the property. You offer to buy the property, you sign a contract, and you go get a mortgage on the property. So with 20% down and a 780 credit score, today's market rate, you'd be somewhere but like 6.75%. So rates are under 7%. Today, guys, we're looking at roughly 6.75%. This is for demonstration purposes only. This isn't necessarily your exact rate. Could be a little higher, could be a little bit lower based on your scenario. But in any event, you're all in payment with taxes, insurance, principal and interest. It'd be right around $3,938 and a cash to close of around $136,000. Okay. So now we're going to look at that same property that's been sitting on the market now for, say, 60 days, and the seller is considering a price adjustment. Now, they haven't made that price adjustment just yet, but you come across this house and you say to the seller, hey, listen, I love the house. We're going to make an offer on it. We're going to write the contract up at your ask price of $600, but only we're going to ask for $10,000 in a closing cost credit for myself. At that point, I am going to help you and the buyer's agent get that structured, the verbiage properly in the contract, and get it approved inside the bank here so that you have no issues or any problems with predatory lending laws. Okay. Now we're going to take that same $10,000, guys, and we're going to buy that interest rate all the way down to 6.125%. That's a huge difference. Look at here. We're going to save $196 per month. But more importantly, I'm going to show you what that does for you over time. Okay. And then in the third column, we're going to do the same scenario as I just spoke about, but rather than do a permanent buy down, you feel in the next couple of years, rates are really going to come down. So I want to do what's called a temporary buy down. So I'm going to buy down that interest rate 1% from the current market of 6.75 down to 5.75 for the next 3 years. So the seller's going to give you that same 10 grand, but that 10 grand is going to go towards a temporary buy down of 5.75% for the next 3 years. And that brings your payment down to $36.26. Okay. So, I don't know that that's a big difference for you, but I just want to show you what a temporary buy down would look like. Now, the difference in the temporary versus the permanent, if you were to do the temporary, that 10 grand that we have put in an escrow account and set that aside to each month buy that rate down from 675 to 575, in the event, say in a year, those rates really tumble and we go ahead and refinance you, the good thing about the temporary is you're going to get all that money back that's left in that escrow account that we didn't use. So that money is still there for you. Where if you would have permanently bought it down, let's say in a year, we go to refinance, that 10 grand is kind of gone, right? So that's something you would have to look at and decide, which route or, what type of gamble you'd like to take. But either way, both are great options. And then what I want to show you here is just so you could put this into perspective, in order to get that same $3,700 payment that you did on the 6.125%, let's say you didn't use that money to buy the rate down, right? You just went, typically what everybody does, takes that 10 grand and uses it toward closing costs. You would have to get a price reduction on that house of $35,000 just to have the same payment on that property. Yeah, your cash to close is going to be a little bit less, but your payment is going to be, quite a bit more, as you can see, right? So you would have to get 35 grand off to get that same payment on that property. So that gives you a little bit of perspective. And then over here, guys, you can see by doing that seller buy down and taking that 10 grand and buying that rate down to 6 1/8, look at over 5 years, just 5 years, you've saved 14,000 over if you didn't buy that rate down. And as you were to stay in this loan longer, obviously that would increase. And then the 2-1 buy down would save you a little bit of money over 5 years. And then this fourth column really is insignificant. And then here you can see over 15 years, the difference in the interest you would pay. You'd pay, 433 on your first one and 389 by buying that interest rate down. So, and guys, if that payment was, say that $3,700 payment is well within your budget, you could always make more. Take that 196 savings and pound that back into the mortgage and pay that mortgage off even quicker. So, and the other thing is, guys, by doing the buy down, if a guy came, went to another lender, that lender tell him, hey, you're only approved for 565 because the max payment we could qualify you for would be 3741. If you came to me, I could tell you we can get you qualified for 600 grand as long as we did some sort of seller concession with a buy down. All right, guys, I know it's a long-winded, but I wanted to make sure I got my point across to you guys so that you would understand this. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I am going to show some other examples of ways that we can do this should you find a property where seller's not willing to negotiate, but we still want to get money from the seller to buy down that rate. So I'll post that probably tomorrow. If you want to hear about it sooner, just reach out to me and I'll share how that works as well. All right, thanks for listening, guys. Again, Joe DeMarco. I'm right here in Estero, Florida. I'll talk to you soon.